Okay, I've now completed the sculpt, and what I'd like to do is just take a look around the entire asset and analyze it for any changes that need to be made. I went ahead and created a very short list of some of the changes that I specifically want to make on this book. One of them is major, and I'm going to demonstrate that to you. The proportions of the book currently are slightly not matching the original concept. In the concept, you'll notice that the book is a bit more narrow and tall as opposed to what I currently have, which is a bit more square and wide. So I need to bring in the cover about maybe 5% on the left-hand side. There's also pages that will also need to follow along. Now, to do that in ZBrush, honestly, is a bit more of a challenge than it is to do that right within a 3D program such as Maya. So I'm going to actually demonstrate how I export out the mesh and do all that work in an external program and then just re-import it back in. Additionally, there's some changes or some fixes that I'd like to make on the other parts of the model. So for example, the skull is currently penetrating through the book. Let me just demonstrate what I have here. So you can see we have the full skull, and that literally goes right through the book cover. And I've decided that I want to bring that up to hide within the cover itself. Now I could just basically slice that section off, which would leave a hollow part of the skull. And I could do it that way. It's a very simple way to do the fix. However, I'm going to actually use a lattice and squash it so that it fits right within the cover but retains its volume. The other thing is the skull itself is currently sticking out of the book a little bit too much. So I need to literally squash that approximately in half the height. So I want to maintain the same look, but I definitely want to bring it down without just pushing it down into the book. Okay, so I'm going to adjust that also with a lattice. The compass at this time is currently too clean. The arrows and the ring, if you recall, that was one of the first things we created in the beginning of this lesson. They're just too clean and not chunky enough for my liking to match the rest of this. So I'm going to just hit it a little bit with like a mallet tool, just so that we can dent up the metal a little bit more. I'll be adding some detail to the teeth in the concept art. One of the teeth actually has a chip in it, as well as a little zigzag crack to the skull. So I'll be adding that, and a few little dents here and there on both the bones and the skull itself, just to roughen it up a little bit. And finally, the cover itself looks a little bit plain, and I think adding some stitches, which are not in the concept art, but I think may actually help the final product. So I'll explore a little bit with stitches. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate for you both the changes I make in scale with the lattices, and then also how I apply stitches. The rest of the work I'll pretty much just work off screen and then show you the results, since it's techniques I've already demonstrated.